Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I'm going to be doing another book haul today, and this is some ebooks that I've gotten recently that usually when I do my book hauls I tend to forget about the ebooks that are lurking on my Kindle. So these are ebooks that I've hauled over the past little while, and when I was doing up this list and looking back at the ones that I had gotten recently, I noticed some themes coming out through here. So we've got some haunted houses, we've got some creepy dolls, and we've got some religious horror in here as well. So all three of those are coming through. Very much into reading those types of books right now. So I'm super excited to have these on my Kindle, so let's get into the haul. So the first one is actually a Halloween book. So this is a Halloween anthology. It's called A Haunted Halloween by Paul Melnichuk. And so I have lots of Halloween anthologies and Halloween themed books that I'm going to be reading in October. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to fit this one in or not. I'm going to try, but October is going to be a really busy month. But when this one popped up in my recommended, I felt I just had to get it. So it says, a spine-tingling collection of Halloween frights. A Haunted Halloween is the perfect reading companion for October and the dark season. So even if I don't get to this one by Halloween, I might just read it, you know, like over the dark days of fall and into winter, because it's Halloween every day around here. So super excited to have that one. Haven't heard anybody else talk about this book, but you can never go wrong with a Halloween collection, in my opinion. And next up we have Exploration of the Unknown, the best of Hans Holzer. So if you've never heard of Hans Holzer before, he was a real pioneer when it came to like parapsychology and ghost investigations and stuff like that back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And I first saw Hans Holzer when I was very young, and I was watching In Search Of with Leonard Nimoy. He had a couple of episodes on that show where he was talking about poltergeists and hauntings and all of that sort of thing. He has been on some of the shows like A Haunting and that sort of thing, where he was talking about the haunting in Georgia. And so he's been, like kind of Ed and Lorraine Warren, he's been very much involved in all of that throughout the years. So this book has kind of his top sort of investigations, the top episodes of shows and stuff like that that he was on. So just kind of snippets from the best of. So I really wanted to download this one. It was only a couple of dollars, and other than that, I am on the lookout for physical Hans Holzer books. A lot of them are out of print now, so I've been scouring my secondhand bookstores to find his books. But when I was growing up, he was someone, along with Ed and Lorraine Warren, who I looked up to as people who were very kind of sound in their thoughts on the paranormal and everything. And he was kind of really instrumental in just my own upbringing, you know, and what I was experiencing. So wanted to download a book by him, so I thought this one was a perfect place to start. And next up we have a haunted house book. So talking about Hans Holzer, who was one of the pioneer parapsychologists. So now we have Man F This House by Brian Assman. And I've seen this book around a lot, and I'm hearing some really good things about it. It's kind of semi-new out, and you know, I've heard some really good things. So here, of course, you have a family that moves into a house and they start experiencing all sorts of weird things. Now, the only thing that I'm a little bit apprehensive about is that there's kind of this dynamic between the mother and son. She's kind of dealing with him a little bit, so there is a little bit of family strife, which is something that I don't do well with in a lot of my books if it's really overbearing, and there's a lot of emphasis and a lot of focus put on that part. But I'm hoping that a lot of the focus is going to be on the haunting and what's going on here as well, which I know that a lot of family strife can kind of get wound into these kinds of stories. So it says here, at first glance the house is perfect, but things aren't what they seem. Sabrina's hearing odd noises and seeing strange visions. Their neighbors are odd or absent, and Sabrina's already fraught relationship with her son is about to be tested in a way that a parent could never imagine. Because while the Haskins family might be the newest owners of 4596 James Circle, they're far from its only residents. So that sounds good to me. like, I'm really excited to read this book, and like I said, I've heard nothing but good things, so happy to be diving into this one, hopefully fairly soon. And next we have a religious horror book, and this one sounds really good. So this is The Doctor's Demons by Maria Abrams. So this, and I love when we have psychiatry and mental illness and stuff that's wrapped into these stories as well. So here we follow a child psychiatrist. Her name is Hannah Cohen, and she meets a little girl named Elena, and she finds out that Elena is possessed by a demon, and she is able to actually exorcise this demon. So that's all fantastic and everything, and she kind of gets into a routine and becomes, she's a psychiatrist, but now she's also kind of an exorcist as well. And you know, she does exorcise demons out of children from time to time. And then years later, she meets Lucas, and Lucas is possessed by something bigger than she ever could have imagined. So it says here, whatever is inside of Lucas is far more powerful than anything she's faced. The denizens of hell are angry with Hannah, and they sent one of their leaders to destroy her. So religious horror, I mean, you can't beat it. I love religious horror, so this sounds super good. This is fairly new out, and I haven't heard any reviews on it yet, so hoping that this one is going to be really good. And I'm a bit of a classicist when it comes to possession stories, but I don't just want to hear the same thing over and over, so kind of hoping that there's going to be a little bit of a new angle to possessions with this one as well. And next up we have The Dollhouse Murders by Betty Wren Wright, who is, you know, kind of like Mary Downing Hahn. She's very good at capturing the creepy in, you know, the middle grade space. So here we follow Amy, and Amy is starting to hear weird sounds coming from the dollhouse that's kept upstairs, and the dolls that she plays with are constantly moving. So she'll go play with the dolls, leave them in a particular spot, and she goes back and they're somewhere else. So we've got some creepy stuff going on with the dollhouse here, and then it's also filled with an eerie light. Are the dolls trying to tell her something? Could this be connected to the murders of her great-grandparents? I'm assuming which would have happened in the house. So this sounds fantastic. Like I said, you can never go wrong with Betty Wren Wright, kind of like Mary Downing Hahn. They write the creepy stuff in that middle grade space very well. So I just actually finished filming a creepy doll themed vlog, and it'll be coming up in October. So I've been all about the creepy dolls lately, and this one sounds like it's going to be right up my alley to stick on my TBR coming up here pretty soon. So next up we have The Cavendish Home for Boys and Girls by Claire Legrand and Sarah Watts. So here we follow Victoria, and Victoria is a pretty no-nonsense young lady, and she has a best friend whose name is Lawrence. And he's kind of scraggly, he, you know, is kind of lazy, he only cares about his piano, he's always kind of disheveled, his shirt is always untucked and stuff like that. So they're polar opposites, and you know, Victoria kind of says, I don't know really why I put up with you, but Lawrence eventually goes missing. And I believe from what it sounds like, they're in this home for boys and girls. So Lawrence goes missing, and he's not the only one. So Victoria soon discovers that the Cavendish Home for Boys and Girls is not what it appears to be. Kids go in but come out different, or they don't come out at all. If anyone can sort this out, it'll be Victoria. So it sounds like there's a little bit of a mystery going on here with what's going on with these kids in this home for boys and girls. So again, I love middle grade horror. It's just so imaginative, and this sounds like it's going to be a really great little adventure with a mystery kind of wound into it. So getting back into the religious horror, we also have The Wakening by J.G. Fogarty, and this I actually had on a list a few months ago for like a most anticipated list, but never ever got to it. So this sounds really good. So 50 years ago we have Father Leo Bonaventura, who is a young exorcist, and he ended up exorcising a demon named Asmodeus out of a young man in Central America. So that happened 50 years ago, and now Asmodeus is back, and Father Bonaventura kind of develops a group of people who he thinks can help him defeat this demon. So we have a group of paranormal investigators, including twin psychics, a man named Robert Lockhart, who is a defrocked priest with a dark secret that only the twins know, and a father whose dead wife was a college girlfriend of Robert's and once conjured an evil spirit with him through a Ouija board. Now they must all join forces and help Father Beneventura rid the town not only of Asmodeus, but also the plague of poltergeists that have followed the demon into our world. So sounds pretty good. The only thing that I'm kind of worried about is, like, you know, you get this group of people and everybody has secrets and stuff, and, you know, it can create a lot of discourse, but hopefully it concentrates more on the religious horror and the demonology and everything and that aspect than that portion of the story. So high hopes for this one. I will let you guys know how it goes, because even though it's only a couple of months old, it came out, I believe, earlier this year, haven't heard a whole lot about it yet. And next, getting back to the haunted houses, so we have The Restoration by J.H. Moncrief. And so this one is about a woman named Terry Foxworth who moves into an old crumbling manor house with her daughter. She thinks she's hit the jackpot, but of course the restoration begins and things don't go quite as planned. So it says she realizes that the dark forces won't let her leave the house until its horrible secrets are revealed. The job very could well be the death of her. So, you know, when you have a haunted manor house and you're doing renovations, things are never ever going to go well, you know. I've seen enough movies and horror shows and stuff like that to know that when you're restoring something like that, it's never going to go well. So again, here along the same lines as the other one that we already talked about, really hoping for a really great haunted house story without too much fluff and too much BS going on in it. So high hopes for this one as well. So next, back to the creepy dolls again. So like I said, there were a couple of themes that were running through this book haul when I was downloading them off Amazon. So we have a Ruby Jean Jensen book. It's called The Living Evil, which was first published in 1993. So I have it on digital copy, but eventually I'm hoping to get a vintage copy for the shelves. So it says here, The Living Evil begins with Heather giving her daughter a beautiful doll, Zenoa. No one could predict that the doll would develop motives of its own, nor that the doll would persist for decades, taking its victims by surprise and disposing of those no longer useful to it. In the dark, the deadly doll could pass for human, but it sought power to seal the transformation. So that's kind of creepy. We've got like a demonic doll here, I guess, who's trying to become human. And so Ruby Jean Jensen is great from what I hear. I actually haven't read any of her books, but from what I hear, it's absolutely fantastic. So I'm super, super happy to have another creepy doll book to add to the collection. And as far as I'm concerned, if it's from the early 90s, you're not gonna go wrong with this one. So super, super excited to have this one on my Kindle as well. There you guys go. That is my ebook haul for September. So yeah, it seems like I'm very much into the haunted houses, creepy dolls, and religious horror right now, which I'm actually next week. You guys won't be seeing it right away, but I am going to be filming a demon themed vlog. So we're going to be watching some religious horror themed movies and reading at least one book, hopefully a couple, during that week, and I'll vlog it all and I'll put it up in October for you guys. So I'm super excited about it, and hopefully I can get to a couple of these as well during that period, and I'll let you guys know what I think about them. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please make sure to give me a thumbs up, leave me a question or comment down below, because you know I love chatting with you guys. But until next time, stay spooky everybody. Bye.